Hello, my name is Steve Lambert. I work for the Portland Police Bureau. I was hired on April 25th of 1991 and started working the streets July 1st, 1991 after basic police class 165. On my 12th day on the job, at about 9 o'clock at night, my partner and I received a radio call that stated that there was a suspicious person in a gas station who had come in asking questions, and when he left, had the butt of a semi-automatic sticking out of the back of his pants when he left. My partner and I rolled into the gas station. I talked to the island attendant while my partner talked to the woman behind the counter at the little Minute Mart inside. The gas station attendant said he asked a bunch of strange questions like, "Do you have a business card?" When he turned around and left, he said he saw the butt of a semi-automatic pistol sticking out of his pants, and that the man went westbound on Herald about 15-20 minutes ago. My partner and I were about ready to leave, and figured the man had probably gone home, and thought what else was going to happen. An elderly gentleman came into the gas station and said the suspect we were looking for was sitting on his front porch, just on the other side across the street behind a commercial building. So at this point, our cover officer arrived. We informed him of the decision to what was going on. We drove over to the house. My partner got out of the car and I got out of mine. We walked up to the house and there was nobody on the front porch, but the front door was wide open. As we entered the house, my partner was in front of me and I could only see part of the suspect. And the suspect said, "Are you the police?" My partner said, "Yes, I'm the police." The man said, "Get out of my house." My partner said, "Fine, but let me see your hands first." At this point, the gentleman who was sitting on the couch about the same position I am now in the end stood up. I could only see his left side. My partner could see all of me. And my partner started saying, "Drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun now." And I realized that this man had a gun. At this point, we were trying to move into the house. When the man started to turn away from us, my partner still yelling, "Drop the gun." He started to turn back towards us, and my partner had already drawn. He fired 3 shots and says that he knows he hit him center mass. The man didn't quite go down. We started to fan out. The man rolled to the end of the couch. We went down on his face on all fours. At this point, we were spread out. I was in the middle of the room behind the love seat. The cover officer was standing by the front door. My partner was in the door to the hallway. The man came up off the floor still with the gun in his hand. And so we shot him again. This time all 3 of us shot him. He fell over backwards in front of his fireplace. Was trying to say something. We kept yelling to stay down. Keep his hands out in front of him, and he tried to get up again. Finally, he just laid back with his hands over his head, and we finally decided he was incapacitated enough that we could approach him. We approached him, I cuffed him. The cover officer went out and called for paramedics and the ambulance, and they took him away. We thought we had hit him 8 out of 8 shots. As it turned out, I believe we hit him 6 out of 8. We hit him in the chest. The cover officer was driving having a .45, hit him in the arm and shattered the bone. It was swollen. We hit him in the stomach on both sides. Hit him twice in the sides. And my partner hit him once in the neck, entering here, coming out here. And he's still alive. And I guess my only advice to all my classmates who have been calling me is, don't trust anyone. Wash their hands and wear your body armor. And rely on the training that you get at the academy. Because when this whole incident went down, I didn't have time to think. I only had time to react. And what Captain Garland and Lieutenant Webb tell you, it happens fast, and you got to know it. So, learn it. What else to say?
Were you prepared for this? this when you left the academy? Did you think what happened to you?
No. This was my 12th day on the street. And we had a couple of, my first day on the street, we had a woman with a gun call. When we got there, the gun had already been surrendered. The second night we had a homicide. Third night we had an armed robbery at a theater nickel arcade with all the pinball machines. And the suspects had ran out and barricaded themselves in the house. And, no, I never thought that would happen. I played the scenarios in my head, just like they say at the academy. How would you react in this situation? Not the way it happened. When it was all over, they said, how long do you think it took? And I said, 30, 45 seconds. The whole thing probably took 10 or 15. Maybe 20.
What was going through your mind when you were responding to the house? What kind of mental preparation were you making at this point before you engaged the suspect in his residence? What were you thinking about?
I was thinking about where the suspect might be, what he might be doing. Never thought he'd actually pull the gun out and point it at anybody. It was kind of, I was in shock. When he was pointing the gun at us, literally I was in shock. They asked me later, what did you feel? And I said I felt nothing. And they say, you have to be in fear of your life to justify using this force. I was in shock. I couldn't believe he wouldn't put it down with my partner yelling at him to put it down. If you go on the assumption that people will react to what you say and do what you say because you are a police officer. That's not so. He wouldn't put it down.
After going through this incident, what kind of mental preparation are you going to do now when you go to a call with a man with a gun? How is the process going to be different?
I'm going to be on my toes. I'm going to be alert. We took 2 weeks off, and one of the first calls we got when we got back on the shift was a domestic disturbance type call. A gal dropped off a girlfriend to pick up her stuff from her boyfriend's house, and the gal waited a half hour for her, but she never came out. So we went over there to check it out, and we walked up to the door, and there's a bumper sticker on the window that says, insured by Smith & Wesson. So of course, my partner and I's ears are starting to burn. We're thinking, this is it, this is another one, It's the point now where you always have your elbow or your hand resting on your gun, thinking, it's still here, I still got it. Am I ready? Am I prepared? What's the worst thing that could happen? Hopefully nobody will ever have to go through it, but they probably will.
What part of the training at the academy do you think was most relevant now that you're out on the street, had a traumatic experience? Are there any areas that you can highlight that you think were, should I say, benefited you more in a life and death situation?
Firearms training. The 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it worked. Because when it came down to it, I didn't have to think 1, 2, 3, 4. I had the flashlight in my right hand. It was nighttime. And we got into the house, and it was, the flashlight went down here, and together. When he was coming back up, I was already ready for him.
You're left-handed?
I'm left-handed. Which was a disadvantage when we went into the house because I could only see his right hand because my partner was in front of me going through this door, and I couldn't draw because I'd hit my partner right in the back. Not a good evaluation for that night. And the cover officer who was behind me was pushing me in the door. We talked about it later, he didn't know how I'd react, he knew I was only on the force for a couple of weeks, so didn't know whether I'd freeze or whether I'd react like I was trained, or what would happen. All he knew was he needed to be in there protect Paul, my partner, and myself. And he had already been through, this was his fourth. So he was much more prepared than the rest of us. This was my partner's first shooting also. He's been in law enforcement for 20 years. And he can't believe how fast he got his gun out.
Were you able to implement, some correct tactics as far as entry through the doorway, or was it push and shove that you couldn't get through in a tactical manner?
It wasn't push and shove. It was, at that point when we were going through the door, it was still a calm, non-violent situation. He was just sitting on the couch. The only thing was the way he was sitting is he had his hands by his side. I could only see his left hand, and it was shadowed, so it looked like there was something there. But maybe there wasn't. Well, my partner could see all of his hands. When he stood up, that's when they saw the gun.
I see. And where were you? Your partner went through the door. Where was he? As he went through the door, did he go left or right?
He had to go straight in.
Had to go straight in.
There was a little short wall here, a table, a little aisleway, a love seat, and then the couch. So the door is this way, but the suspect is angled off to the right. And he stopped when the man said, don't come in my house. And so, he remained calm and said, fine, we won't come in, but I want to see your hands. Knowing this man had a gun, he was about to turn his back to him and walk out the door.
Right. And where were you standing at this time?
Right behind my partner. Just shifted off to the right a little bit so I could see part of the suspect. But we're going through this doorway.
And the third officer?
He was somewhere behind me. And it was true about the tunnel vision, diminished hearing. The gunshots just were pop, pop, pop. My partner and I both carried 38s, a 357 and 38 rounds. My cover officer carried a 45. I counted every one of my partner's shots. I knew he had fired 5 times. Mr. Ragland, who carries a 45, I never even heard his. And he was closer to me than my partner was. He was about 3 feet away, and my partner was about 8 feet away. I could see my partner and I could see the suspect, but I never saw Officer Ragland at all.
So you really experienced tunnel vision, didn't you?
Yeah. It wasn't just a tunnel here, but I could, out of my peripheral, I could see my partner, who was just slightly ahead of me when we finally fanned out, and the suspect was going down. I could see him. I was keeping him in sight and the suspect in sight, but I couldn't see this one. Even when I cuffed the suspect later, somebody came over and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I'll do that." And I thought it was Officer Ragland, and it wasn't. It was 2 other officers who had arrived. I never even heard them screaming up there. The mufflers went on, the vision went down, time distortion. I thought it took 30 or 45 seconds. In reality, it probably took about 10, maybe 15.
What kind of feelings or emotions did you have after the shooting? When did it really start to sink in? When the adrenaline started to taper off?
The next day, Wednesday. It happened Tuesday night. And it's weird, some of the things you think. But after I cuffed the suspect, his hands were above his head. So all I did was cuff him over his head and hold his hands down. I felt he wasn't going to be a terrible threat, but I could see some blood coming out to the front, but not much. But I knelt down next to him, I ended up with a big pool of blood on my knee. Of course, when the detectives and everybody arrived at the scene and they got some preliminary information, they took us downtown. And my only concern was I wanted to get out of my uniform pants that were all bloody because they were sticking in my knee. Silly. That's what I felt at the time. The next day I started thinking, I shot somebody. I shot a person who I didn't even know. And I went through the emotions. I was being so new, I was afraid I was going to lose my job, which I love dearly. It was the best job I've had in my life. I should have done it 15 years ago. I was angry at him for that. I was afraid that, my whole life is going to be ruined. Because next thing I know, I'm going to be the outcast or whatever. It was all these emotions. And it was a roller coaster for about 2 or 3 days. And one of the officers who were involved in our union told me to read Romans 13. It talks about God being authority over all, and all governments being in place because God put them there. And we are being an extension of that. We are just doing His will. And with that, fine. I don't harbor any ill will against Mr. Everett, who was shot. He might against me, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I've talked about it to probably 30 different officers. Anytime I feel anything about it, I can go talk to anybody. We have our own TIC team. I was really amazed at the support I got out of the department. All the other officers came up to me, and usually the first words out of their mouth was, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do to help you? One officer said, how's your wife handling it? I said, well, she's fine. He says, well, here's my wife's name and phone number. If she wants to talk about it, she can call my wife and talk about it. I've been through it twice, so she knows what I go through. And maybe she can help her through it too if she has a problem. The support was overwhelming.
What would be your recommendation after experiencing a traumatic incident? What advice would you give other officers in dealing with other people who've been through a traumatic incident? What would you say was most beneficial to you? Just being there?
Just being there. Caring. Worried about how you're doing, how that officer who was involved in the shooting is doing. Though even the ones that from my class who called handled it very well. They didn't ask me a bunch of stupid questions. They didn't, call you names like killer or shooter or anything like that. Most of them were just generally concerned about how I was doing, if I was okay. One thing I think they can say is, do you want to talk about it? I think a lot of them wanted to hear the story, but didn't want to ask. Yet talking about it over and over again helps get it out of you, because you keep expressing it, getting rid of it. I mean, after the shooting, I stood out front and I shook my whole left side. Just my left arm, my left leg was shaking. My right side was fine, because I'm left-handed, and I probably put a lot of adrenaline and stress on this left side. Every time I told the story afterwards, I would shake. But every time I told it, I would shake a little less. Till now, it doesn't bother me at all. Because I've told the story over and over and over again. Not only have I played it over and over and over again in my mind 1,000 times, but I've talked to many people about it.
Very few people really ever become involved in this dynamic of a situation. How has it impacted your life? How has it changed your life? Has it changed your life?
It has changed my life. The day after the shooting, I went into the precinct, and I talked to a lieutenant there about it, and my partner was there. My partner made the comment, says, we're no longer policemen, they took our guns away. And he was making light of it, keeping a sense of humor. I was trying to do so also. Well, I felt afraid to go around without a gun for about 2 or 3 days. I borrowed one to have one with me. And I kept thinking, every time I saw somebody drive down the street who looked a little bit grungy or dirty, I wondered, what kind of a dirtbag is this? Is he carrying a gun? And it took about 2 or 3 days to get over that. And it has changed your life, because I look at people differently, and I'm trying to still work that out. I sometimes feel like a darting back and forth.
How do you look at people differently? What do you mean you look at people differently? What's that mean?
It used to be I could walk by people and I wouldn't even think about it. And now I'm always watching. And it took me a while to work through that. I just had a feeling that everybody was watching me. My name appeared in the paper, I guess. I thought, oh no, people are going to be calling from all over, wisecracks. Sometimes you wonder what people are thinking, friends that know that you were involved in this, what they're thinking. It's just a job. When somebody pulls a gun or acts stupid like this, everybody runs away. We don't, we run towards. We didn't know exactly what we were getting into. Because when we left the gas station, between the time we were at the gas station and we were going to the house, there was a second call to 911 that this guy had caddy corner across the street and had been banging on the window of a tavern calling people out, waving his gun around. We didn't know that when we entered the house. We didn't hear about that till the next day. But evidently everybody, practically in the bar, was hitting the floor and scurrying out the back and side doors. Except for one guy who had a mobile telephone. He called 911 and reported it. But we didn't hear this call. We're out talking to gas station people. If we had known this, maybe I would have had even a different perspective.
What, if any, training do you think you need to pursue now that you've had some? It's very frustrating for me as a trainer because in your class, I stood in front of your class hour after hour trying to get across to you that this is a dangerous job.
Yes.
The training has to be ongoing. You have to be mentally aware. And I know you all stood there and looked or sat there and looked at me like, yeah.
That's why I called you to tell you to keep banging away at them. You got to keep chipping into those brains because they get glossed over with stuff in it. Yeah, we've heard this before. Yeah, it's a dangerous job and somebody might have a gun. No kidding, it's a dangerous job. I mean, 12 days. Most people go 20 or 30 years and never have to do it. But times are changing. More and more people are carrying guns, and more people are pointing them at us. A lot of them want to commit suicide or too chicken to do it themselves. So they call the police when the police do it. That runs through my mind occasionally. We've had several of those incidents in Portland. I don't know whether this guy wanted to commit suicide or not. I don't know what he was thinking. I haven't read any of the reports on it. His brother said he would never point a gun at anybody. Well, that's not true. If my partner had let him go another couple inches, he would have been pointed at me. Because the way he was fanning around, he would have run across either Officer Raglan or myself first, and then my partner. Now, we gave him every opportunity to drop the gun, but he didn't do it. The training, just keep beating away at it. It can happen, and it can happen fast.
What are you going to do now as enhancing your training or seeking out additional training to make you more effective, to enhance your survivability on the street? Have you given that any thought?
Not really. I'm just trying to get back into the groove again. I know I'm going to keep practicing.
What kind of techniques? Are you practicing what?
Well, firearms, shooting. I'm very aware now when we enter or we go up to a door to look around the windows, see if somebody's watching out. Try and stay away from the inside, come around, going outside. But there's two of us. Where possible places people could be hiding. Keeping my back covered, looking for cover. Exits.
Well, what advice would you give people who are going to view this videotape? If you could give them any advice at all, here's your opportunity. What kind of advice would you give them? Or give them some advice?
You're going to show this at the academy classes?
Yes.
Listen to your instructors. They aren't feeding you a lie. The training you get there works, and it pays off in dividends. Always watch the suspect's hands, wear your body armor, and rely on your training. The training works. When the shooting went down, I didn't have to think about where my gun was. I didn't have to think about it snapping the holster. I didn't have to think about drawing it. It just happened. I didn't have to think about looking for some kind of cover. There wasn't any to speak of other than a love seat, because my partners was on one side and the cover officer on the other, the door jams, and there was just a square room behind me with nothing heavy enough to stop bullets, except this love seat. Of course, I didn't have a whole lot of time to look for cover before the shooting started. Pay attention to the instructors. Listen to Lieutenant Webb. He isn't feeding a lie, I can tell you that. When he says it'll happen, it'll happen. Somebody will beat my record of 12 days, I'm sure.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Steve.
Cool.